Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. We're out here in Ontario, Majestic, crit number 2. So, anyway, excited to have Jeanette and Evie out there today. So we'll see what happens. My plan is to sit in and see where we're at the last couple laps.
All right, so here we go with another crit race. This is the Majestic Cycling Ontario crit number 2, and this is the women's 4-5 race. Once again, I have my wife Ellen here, and we'll be doing your commentary for the day.
Hello. I would recommend maybe grabbing some popcorn, sitting down, because this race is going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's basically it's like the second month of racing being back, and I think it's shown CBR. So, starting off with the first Ontario crit, then Rosarina Ranch, then CBR, and now the second Ontario crit. The women have gotten a lot more race ready. The pace has picked up, and it's a lot more aggressive as well.
This race had two of my teammates in it. Evie and Jeanette came out. This was their first race back. They're both right there in front of me. Jeanette has some experience and is just kind of getting back into race shape, so I welcomed her experience. She was able to give me a little guidance here, let me in, and so can't wait for her to be back in full force. And Evie did an excellent job hanging onto wheels and moving up. She had excellent position, as you'll see, kind of the whole race, being right in the front, and did a great job. So
yeah, and once again we have the young Miss Chin right there next to us, and she's doing her thing as usual. If you see Evie weave a little bit here and there at these first couple laps, trust me, she's not that sketch of a line holder, but there was a lot of brake checking. So sometimes when the race just starts, not everybody's not familiar with the flow of the course yet, and they start, for whatever reason, they slow down in the turns, hit their brakes, and it causes everyone to check up a little.
yes, it was a little bit nerve-wracking. That was the first thing I think I remember Jeanette saying is, don't brake. But when someone hits their brakes in front of you, you kind of need to keep from running up the back of them.
Yeah, and that's something like all of us need to get used to and recognize early on in the race who's a steady wheel to follow, and who's the riders that you kind of want to watch and get away from. Earlier in the season, the women races were really calm, really passive, and I don't know if people have been coached up or just a little more comfortable now, but this race was not calm and passive. There was a lot of bumping left and right. I'm hoping that most of it was unintentional, but there was a lot of fighting for wheels and people just not so ready to relinquish the line or the wheel that was in front of them. So yeah, this is kind of like a survivor round.
Yes, thanks to the PAA race sprint clinic last week and the bumping drills in the grass, I feel like that helped me stay on two wheels instead of on my limbs and head in this race. So thanks, Nick.
Yeah, no, I mean, we kind of joke about it a little bit, and hopefully everyone's all right. This weekend actually saw a lot of crashes. We had crashes in the men's race as well, and unfortunately in the women's pro race we had a really unfortunate event that took place that was completely avoidable. And it's just something like that everyone needs to realize when we come out here, is that crashing is a part of the sport, unfortunately, and it's not necessarily someone's fault. I mean, obviously, factually, someone always has to make a mistake in order for a crash to happen, but that's a risk that we all are signing up for and saying that we're willing to take if you get on your bike and compete on it. So, hopefully everybody's all right from the weekend, but we'll go down and break down the crash when it happens in this race and just try to point out all the contact and things that we see during the race.
followed my game plan pretty well of just trying to sit in till the last lap or two, and my sitting in still needs some work. I'm out in the wind quite a lot. I still am struggling to hang on to a wheel and struggling to find who I'm really comfortable following. There was a lot of kind of drifting back and forth, as you'll see. A lot of us are not quite as stable as maybe I would like, or I think all of us might like.
Yeah, and just here is like to piggyback on what you're saying. Ellen didn't do such a great job last week of getting like optimum draft, and here she was behind Jade's wheel for a second. That's Jade in black right in front of us, and she kind of drifts off that wheel, and that opens up gaps, and it causes people to jump wheels. Like you see, the Scott girl here is jumping onto Jade's wheel, when really that's Ellen's position. Ellen would be 3 more positions up if she just stuck to that wheel.
Yeah, even here, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities I let go by. There is a few times later in the race where I take advantage of an opportunity, but I still am just learning how to navigate within the peloton. So,
and there goes our new friend Sarah right there. She's putting in a good effort to jump on the wheel because Ellen left that door open once again, and she's just, giving out free wheels. And Sarah's another young rider that she came and introduced herself to us this weekend, and reached out on Instagram last week. But she does a great job here too. I believe she got 8th place for the race, and she's young and very strong. I'm sorry, 9th place. Yeah, so another thing we want to point out is the lines. And for whatever reason, in this race, sometimes in our race too, you'll see, if you watch our video later, the men's Cat 5 race as well, the lines are pretty bad. And when you have big streets like this, often people just kind of drift all over the place. And you'll see up here, not on this turn so much, but on the next turn, for whatever reason, a lot of the riders like to stay really wide to the right, and that's not the line. When the course is this wide, you got to remember you're not in a car, you're on a bicycle, and you can pretty much be a little bit further to the left, shorten the course a little bit, and cut the apex. So you'll see here, I'm sure at least somebody's going to do it. I'm not 100%. This is not a scripted recap. This is live. But you'll see the riders that cut the apex here and go left, they make up like 4, 5, 6 positions on people that are going wide. And later in the race, the front of the race goes wide, and a girl that's in about 9th place cuts the corner and ends up in 1st. You can definitely make up a lot of time and speed just staying a little tighter and keeping to the race line.
To piggyback off that, there was a few times where I took the corner pretty tight.
Little bump here. Oh, I don't know why that rider didn't hold her line staying left. She decided to veer back out to the right, and there's a little bump. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I don't even recall that bump, but I do remember getting bumped once or twice, and just remembering the bumping clinic, and it's really not that bad. You just hold your line, and it's not even that unsafe if you're just kind of riding and it's unintentional, if both riders just kind of hold their position. But as I was saying, I started to almost cut the corner in the gutter because nobody was taking that really tight line, so I felt pretty safe that nobody was going to pinch me in because the lines were typically a little bit wider. So I started to just kind of go on that line and feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah, here's another example where everyone's all the way to the right, and this is definitely taking the wide way around the course. At 23 miles per hour, you're not really going fast enough to swing that far to the right. Not to mention the road is a lot more beat up over there, so you're scrubbing speed and using more power to keep your momentum on that side of the road over there. I want to give a shout out to Erin. I believe she might be riding. I won't say the team because I'm not 100% sure, but she did a great job. She's up there, I believe, on the orangish colored bike, and she ended up getting 3rd this race, but she did a good job. And I can see when she's moving throughout the peloton, she usually had a solid position and held a steady wheel as well. Yeah, so excuse me. Along with some of the line issues, this is another point here. Ellen leaves that wheel open. The lady from Legrand's jumps right in there, and there you go. You're down 3 spots now just from sagging off that wheel. Evie almost wants to take it as well, and yeah, you gotta just stay closer, get the benefit of the draft, save that energy, and stick to that wheel. Don't let these gaps open up. Even now that you're in the draft at this high speed, you're getting a benefit, but you're almost a bike length back, and you need to cut that down at least by half.
Yeah, especially because of Jade's strong finish last week. I knew she would be in contention, be a little hungry from her second place finish at CBR last week. So I had said, okay, just stay on her wheel. She's a pretty good wheel to follow.
Yeah, and if you see where Jade was, she was right in front of you. That was the wheel you had, and she's about 7 or 8 places in front of you right now. And that was free energy for you right there. You could have just used her momentum, got in the draft, and that's a great way to move up. So we apologize too for the shakiness of the camera. That road is pretty beat up right there, and it looks like the GoPro 8 is not able to stabilize it with that much bouncing. So, but yeah, I mean, this pace is pretty fast. You look, they're at 23 miles per hour right now, and I believe the first Ontario race was between 17 and 21, 22 miles per hour, and often they're well above 20, most of the lap now. So I don't know what your average speed was overall, but this is much faster pace.
I think my average was 22 and my top speed was maybe 30.9, if I recall.
Yeah, and see, that was another example. If you see this girl here with the HBC on her back, the Peloton went wide. She cut the angle to the left and made up again like 5 places just by using a better line. If you look here too, I'm not sure if it's here over to the right. There's some... No, it's not that time. Seen a lot of bumping going on. Yeah, here's right here. Look at that bump, and I have no clue what's going on there. It looked a little weird. I don't know if Jade came over too far and bumped into the Go Fast girl, but that just... yeah, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if they just weren't paying attention, but yeah, that didn't seem like it was... seemed like it was something that wasn't necessary, like that could have been avoided. And I don't know who's to blame or anything, but yeah, we always have to have situational awareness when we're racing, and it just keeps everybody a little safer. But they both did a great job of holding balance. They had good positions on the bars, and didn't panic too much.
I think I called out "hold your line" because it was definitely a scary moment where I could envision 4 or 5 bike pile up, because if somebody goes down, it sometimes is unavoidable, but luckily everyone stayed on the road on 2 wheels, so that was great.
All right, looks like someone's trying to attack off the front here, and the pace picks up. You always got to pay attention. You see like just a little late reaction out of you, and now you're going to have to do close to 400 watts to get on it, and with all these watts being spent, you're still going backwards. Got to stay in the draft, got to be ready to pounce, and you probably lost about 10-15 positions right there just from that little attack. You were probably about the top 8 or so going into that corner, and now you're sitting about almost 20th.
Well, 20th would be about last place, so
Yeah.
so I'm in the back of the pack.
Yeah, for the most part.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's another opportunity to move up, jump on that wheel. Oh, but you don't. And look, someone else jumps on it. You always want a free ride if you can. You see a rider shooting up the side, jump on that wheel. Obviously, you might need to look behind you. They may have a teammate or someone already on their wheel, but jump on that wheel and get a free ride up to the front.
Yeah, it got a little confusing. I could have swore I heard 3 laps to go, and then the next lap there was a bell being rang, so then I started to second guess if maybe I missed a lap and it was the last lap. Turns out that was a preem, and I think Evie got caught chasing that and spent a lot of energy. There may have been a couple preems, I'm not sure, because I was determined to not fall for any preem notices because I was going to sit in and wait till the last lap.
sit in, you do. And I think you did a good job of doing that. It's just, things don't always work out as planned. I don't know who this rider is here, but they're pushing a really big gear, and that's something you don't want to get caught out on as well. When you're turning that corner, it goes uphill a little bit. It's kind of a false flat, and you need to have your cadence up. You need to be able to spin up out of that corner to get some acceleration. This young lady here, I love her position as well. Look how flat her back is. That's a good aero position, solid in the drops there. She has her fingers just feathering over her brakes if she needed to use them. That's Jessica in front of us from Go Fast right here, and she does a little attack later, has some tactics, and it's good to see that, like I said, it's 2 months into the race season now, and everyone's getting a little savvy and pulling out the tricks. But here's another example of the line. You see on the left, the girl that takes the proper line, she goes from about 5th place to 1st place without using any energy, just by taking the proper line. This wide line is not it. If you were to take a piece of paper out, draw a circle, draw another circle inside of it, the smaller circle is going to be the faster route. There's no need for us to take this wide route out here. If you're doing like 40 miles per hour, I'd see cutting the corner, then swinging really wide like that. But on this course, as wide as it is, most of the time we're probably going to be hovering around the double yellow, and we shouldn't be too much wider than that most of the time.
Yeah, it's definitely more comfortable to be on the inside line. There was a near little
teammates almost took each other out. Okay.
Touching by teammates or.
Yeah. They might have just been high-fiving. Yeah. And if you look here, Jade and Chin, but look at Miss Chin. She's gonna fight for that wheel. That's what you have to do. You have to have that kind of determination to hold the wheel, save that energy. I mean, she's half of everybody's size. I'm pretty sure she doesn't produce the same amount of power as the rest of the women in this race. However, if she stays in the draft, she's going to get sucked along all the way around this course. And that's great for a 10-year-old. You can see how strung out it is here too, so obviously the pace is picking up a little bit. You guys are already at 23 miles per hour when you're starting this little false flat uphill. And yeah, 25 miles per hour now. It's getting hot.
Definitely faster than the last Ontario race, and this was the shorter course, so just got around the course a little bit faster.
So watch Aaron here, and just everyone taking the inside line. See how they're passing the people on the outside? Again, I'm starting to beat a dead horse, but yeah, that's an easy way to make up positions with no energy. You got to take better lines. Some people say like, what is the better line? And I'll use like a motorcycle racing analogy. For us, taking the turn, you want to take a turn at the best angle that allows you to get back on the gas the fastest. And it's kind of the same with riding a bike. You want to take an angle that allows you to start pedaling as soon as possible, or that you don't have to stop pedaling at all. Momentum is the key. You want to hold momentum, do not hit your brakes, and don't waste all that energy. I don't know how many laps there is to go, but there's another little bump there between you and Jade. Again, I don't know whose fault it was. It looks like Jade was trying to pass, and you went for a pass as well, and you guys had a little touch there.
I'm glad we were stable, because that would have not been pretty to going to the barrier there. The fence, it really gets narrow, I think.
Oh, and there's a crash. Ooh. Yeah. So I don't know, again, who's at fault, but up front, 2 girls hit wheels, hit another girl, the young lady in yellow. That young lady hit Ellen, and luckily Ellen was able to keep her balance. But I think when she hit Ellen, I think Melly may have hit Ellen from behind. Not Melly's fault either. It's just one of those racing incidents that somehow the 2 girls up front got tangled up, and that's really, we really have to be more aware of our situations, because there's definitely no reason for that to happen on a straightaway.
I just can't believe how fast it's over in the camera because it seemed like so much was going on. I could not believe I was still on the bike after being bumped and hit from so many different directions. Things were falling on the ground, and I saw that Melly went down behind me, and my instinct was to just stop in the race to see if she was okay. And then I said, I'm still on my bike, I can still ride, it's a race. So unfortunately, crashing is part of racing at times. Some can definitely be avoided, but again, I was I was grateful to still be on my bike because it really it was a little scary, and I was also again thankful for that bump clinic to just realize you can withstand a lot. I'm a little bit larger than most of the girls out there, so I felt like they were just bumping and falling into me. So
Yeah, it's kind of, it's kind of, I don't know, for me, it's again that you chase back on. There's only one lap to go, I believe now, maybe two. But just from that crash, being able to chase back on, you guys were going pretty fast at the time. And, that says a lot because a lot of us won't do it. We'd be completely gassed here. And, I'll pat myself on the back because that's shows the kind of fitness that I've gotten you into. So, yeah, but I'm not, honestly, if I know I'd have a hard trouble catching back on to, a men's field after a crash. And
Did you see how much my watts were catching back up? Because I did not notice that.
I didn't at the moment, but I know you've been hovering around the high 300s and 400s on your surges. So I would assume it was probably the same, maybe 300 and something watts. I don't know.
Yeah, I think my expectations changed a little bit just because I was grateful to still be on the bikes, and I was kind of just content at this point to finish and still be on the bike. But since I was able to catch back up, I started thinking about maybe I'll try to do a sprint and see what I have at the end. But I was not in good position, probably from just being a little tired and a little shaken up over all the bumping. I wish I would have been able to see it from the back because, gosh, if I can't believe how hard people hit into me, and I still was able to stay upright. So I think I was just in a little bit different state of mind, but you got to let that go and just focus on, the task at hand because it's still racing.
Well, yeah, I can definitely tell you're not in race mode right now because the pace picked up and you're kind of drifting. You're just hesitant. You didn't really put in that effort to, accelerate with the group. You seem like you're getting back into it now a little bit, but yeah, you definitely took a good 10 seconds to respond while everyone's like accelerating up the road. So
those are my slow twitch muscles at play. My fast twitch muscles, they need some help. And again, I'm a little disappointed. I've been inside for, I'd say, the majority of the race, and somehow as we're going into the last lap and coming around the corner, I end up kind of chasing from the back. So
I hate to call Lisa out right there. Sorry to cut you off, but just a little teaching point. So Lisa right here on the red bike, she had just reached down, got a bottle of water, and yep, you're thirsty, but unfortunately you got to really pick like good times to pick a bike. So pick a time to get a drink of water because obviously we have to take a hand off the bar, and if you look, she was in a beat up part of the course, had to go one hand, and then someone checked up in front of her and she had to swerve around her. So we really have to be calculated on when we take a goo, when we take a water, and it has to be like in a more safe situation.
So here, I think you had told me, I heard you yelling to move up, so I was able to move up. And this is where you see some team tactics. So Go Fast is here, and they start talking a little bit. And Jade is right next to me, and I know we're just watching because somebody's gonna take off. Don't know who, but somebody, or whatever they're plotting. And I could tell without talking about it, Jade and I were just both paying attention to see, when to go or what to do.
Well, you can tell because look at Jessica's body language, how she got low, tried to get Arrow. They're kind of thick as thieves up there, whispering in the night, and then she takes off. So, yeah, you can look at people's body language. You kind of know what's going on. And, again, I'm not Mr., expert guru or anything, but if I can give a tip to Jessica here is, if you want to attack, and I know some people say don't give away secrets, but hey, it's Cat 5. We're all trying to learn and grow as racers. But if you want to attack off the front, especially when your teammate is there on the front, Jessica would have been better served if she would have just attacked from about 5th position. That's how you catch people off guard. They don't know you're coming, and then you just run by.
And so here you can tell the talent of this young rider, Veronica. She sees that the other rider is going, and she quickly gets over. So she is definitely a racer. And here you're going to see some bumping, and she's not afraid to go, head
toe
up there with Jade.
Yeah, this is a heavyweight fight right now. I mean, seriously, they're in the ring and they're elbowing each other for that wheel. And I think there was a conversation. We'll get some post-race commentary, but neither one of them are backing down. They're just like, hey, this is my wheel, and it's been claimed, and someone's like, no, I'm fighting for it, and I'm gonna defend for it. So again, we don't want anyone getting hurt or anything, so obviously let's keep that competitiveness, but let's also keep it safe. And I think both these girls did a good job of not being overly aggressive, but yes, they were letting the other one know that they were there.
And here I'm not sure, I guess just being a little bit passive or just not kind of sticking to where I was. You see, I lost a whole bunch of places, and instead of being on the inside where I was, I'm suddenly now mid-pack, and I'm going to end up having to make my move around the outside, which obviously there's a lot more distance to go. It's a lot more difficult, and we talked in kind of the as we were warming up, of maybe a good time to start sprinting. And I think it was that driveway back there.
Yeah, half a corner ago. But this isn't the last lap. The last lap, we're coming into the last lap now.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're coming into the last lap. I believe they're ringing the bell now. And yeah, this is it. So this is where you need to be in good position. And again, you're a little passive here. If Jessica's able to shoot up the inside and take kind of the line that you had, you left that door open. And honestly, when you open doors, it kind of does make it a little unsafe sometimes. And I don't mean unsafe as if it's like someone's fault, but what it does is it gives the other riders a thought to, hey, maybe I can squeeze in there.
Yeah, I'm just such a nice, courteous rider. I'm half between race mode and group ride. So one of these days, maybe I'll be all race mode, and then I think you'll see a real good result.
For sure. Well, honestly, you've already had good results. Today's a good result. Anytime you're in the top 10 is to me, it's an excellent result. And overall, it doesn't even matter what place you come in. You're out here competing, you're racing your bike just like the rest of these girls, but I think you can do a better job here of getting a draft. You can save energy for this sprint. You have the ability to sprint at over 800 watts, and you can tell maybe by that crash effort of getting back on, and just sometimes here not being as efficient, you can drop your watts down by at least 40 watts if you're in a better draft position, and then you might hit higher numbers on your sprint. But I will say you do an awesome job on the sprint, and you sprint basically for a full 22-25 seconds.
Well, and I didn't even feel like I gave it my all. I just, like I said, my mentality had changed a little bit. So obviously I have somewhat of a competitive spirit.
There's the driveway where you should have started your sprint.
So I was thinking of that, so I think I'm going to start really right now.
Yep, and there it is. You're not able to hit max watts here, but you do have decent momentum coming around the outside, and you're able to make up a bunch of spots. So, I mean, it's a great job. You just didn't have the same energy, and you'd have a little bit more if you would have drafted more throughout the race, and then obviously the effort recovering from the crash took it out of you. So great job for sprinting for 7th place there. Evie got 8th.
Yeah, it was definitely one for the books. So thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned for some post-race highlights.
Yep, and congratulations to Veronica, and hopefully your sister's okay and the Go Fast lady's okay as well.
Welcome to A Faster Me. My name's Jade, and I ride with Major Motion.
How'd you do in the race, Jade?
So I ended up coming in 5th place. Definitely proud to be in a top 5 finish. I feel like this was a really aggressive race, very different from my previous races. It's actually my 3rd one. and it was different. There were more teams. I know we had PAA, LaGrange, Go Fast, Velo, and a few others that came with the strategy, and you know, that was really exciting to figure out how to like pick up on team tactics and kind of like fill out what we needed to do, Lisa and I. So what I found was this was definitely a faster course. It's about 0.8 miles, I believe, a couple turns in the end, and it got a little aggressive. You know, I felt pretty good in the beginning, sitting on wheels, but then as I was trying to find lines and kind of figure out which teams to follow, I started getting pushed out and hitting the wind a lot more and taking a lot more wind than I thought. And then when I tried to get back into the pack, I started getting some shoulder bumps, kind of, you know, edges, and people saying, you know, that's my will, and you know, like that's the spirit of competition. That's how a race goes. It's not something that I'm used to being my third race, but I learned a lot. I think I got bumped at least 3 or 4 times. One felt like it was an accident. I'm going to say the other 3 were intentional. One actually happened in the final lap coming in turn 3 or 4, and it definitely got me a little frazzled. I'll admit that. And I just didn't get back to where I needed to be in terms of going into that last 100 yards or whatever for that final lap. But you know, it was a good race. You know, I saw a couple new wheels that I'd never seen before, but you know, that's how it goes. Ready for the next one.
Welcome to A Faster Me. I'm Sarah Burgess.
How'd your race go today, Sarah?
It was good. It was fast and it was fun.
What are you doing next? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the Tour de Marietta.
Cool. Well, thank you for blessing our presence with on the channel, and we'll see you in the next race.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. Finished the race. It was a little faster than the last Ontario Majestic race, but it was fun. Had some bumping and a few crashes, unfortunately, but I think everybody's okay. Got dropped when the crashes were because there was some bumps into me, and I was able to catch back up and had maybe a top 10 finish. Not sure, have to check out the results. So thanks for tuning in.